And, here, instead of a bunch of 50-year-old guys, they had a bunch of 40-year-old guys. So they're getting younger. It's ridiculous. Even people who were associated with the original ECW are now saying, let it die already. Once again, is this a plan for the future? Is TNA Wrestling putting a framework down for the future by going back to all this hardcore bullshit, which I heard the wrestler, I wouldn't watch the thing, except if I had a gun pointed to me and I was tied to a chair, but I read the reviews. Sloppy wrestling, a lot of emotion. Why can't they create that emotion for their young talent that they've been paying and supposed to be building all this time? Sloppy wrestling, overbooked, 10 years behind the times, living in the past, with a bunch of guys who contributed greatly to ECW success, but it's been gone for 9 years now, folks. Can we please move into the future? I feel like I'm stuck in the hot tub time machine. And this time it's not even Vince Russo's time machine. Dixie Carter, they did surveys that said that most of their fans liked ECW. No shit, Sherlock, because most of the fans that will put up with TNA's product are the people who love wrestling and want to see any kind of wrestling and would love for them to be good, but they're not. It's like an abusive relationship. You'd love for the product to be good, but it's not, but you keep going back to it. So, of course, those people that Eric Bischoff himself insults, I wish the right hand knew what the left hand was doing. Don't you? Bischoff is insulting the same kind of wrestling fans that are TNA's primary audience and the same kind of wrestling fans that like ECW, because they are wrestling fans, but Bischoff don't like them, and then they present ECW, and of course it probably did a better buy rate than their normal, subpar pay-per-view efforts, but the point is it still does nothing for their future. Half these guys can't wrestle a regular basis. Half these guys have real jobs now. Half these guys just moonlight as wrestlers, and it's just ridiculous. Once again, can anybody explain to me why they have to rehash the same shit over and over again? Oh, wait a minute, I figured it out, because they're too stupid to do the good shit, to do new shit any good. So, that's my thought on it. Love a lot of people that were on the show, but probably even some of them would say, wow, yeah. And then, of course, they have the tag team thing where they whack each other with blunt instruments, and then they just stop and hug. So it's just they took a big shit on today's wrestling business, just like they usually do.
Another thing I want to talk to you about and get your opinion of, I know you don't really follow WWE programming. Well, I know you don't, but I know you know about
there always has to be that disclaimer.
You know about that Nexus angle and how the guys first debuted, and you heard it was a really good angle it did initially where they destroyed John Cena in the ring and everything like that, and then they dropped the ball the following week. The next week they lay out Vince McMahon, which was a good angle. It was like on again, off again, on again, off again. Now finally at SummerSlam this past Sunday, they finally had the big match where all these guys took on Team WWE. It was the first real big encounter between this group and the WWE group, and sure enough, what happened at SummerSlam this past Sunday, the WWE group goes over the very first time these two collide. What is your thoughts on that process where you're trying to build these young kids up and make them strong and seem like they're able to compete with the top stars at WWE, and the first time these two teams collide, you have Team WWE go over?
Well, my thought is much of what you would think it is. Number one, at least at this point, I'm glad that somebody under the age of 40 got to main event a pay-per-view. But at the same time, 7 young guys all together with the focus being put on the fact that they're young rookies rather than each individual guy. So have you made a star? The only star they made out of the whole thing was Bryan Danielson, and he's the one that they fired. And then you put the guys in their first main event on their first pay-per-view, and they lose. So we had a little 4-week program. Oh, we're going to put these guys in the main event, and then we proved that they were losers. So that's, pretty much what you would expect.
Shouldn't Booking 101 though say that those guys go over on the WWE?
Well, of course it is, but there's nobody in the WWE on the staff of comedy writers led by that little pimply faced comic book reader. What's his name? Gerwitz?
Yeah.
There's nobody that knows Booking 101. They don't even think they're bookers. They think they're writers. They're big TV writers. Some of them may even think that they're Pulitzer Prize-winning novelists. I don't know. But no, they've never heard of Booking 101. As Bill Watts would say, if they were ever in a booking meeting, they would be whistling Stranger in Paradise.
I heard the head writer from the show Alpha is available. They should bring him in.
Yeah, and maybe even they could bring the star in, too. Alf versus Cena.
Now, if that was you booking that this past Sunday, obviously the young kids would have dominated the WWE guys, right?
Yes, most assuredly. Although I was taking it back from scratch, I don't know whether I would have put 7 of them all together in a match to where that they couldn't really stand out individually, but definitely the young guys would have been winning and beating some people. Maybe not everybody, but most people.
Sure. Anything else on your mind that you'd like to talk about this week?
Oh, golly gee, Tommy, the heat continues. They say there's no global warming. It's been 100 degrees or more in the heat index for about 3 months here in Louisville. And I'm still on my diet. I'm down to 223 pounds.
Nice.
Even splurging in Charlotte. And looking forward to September 11th. And also, here's a preview. JimCornette.com is undergoing a massive renovation within the next 2 to 3 weeks. It's going to be a brand new website. It's going to look better. It's going to have more features. It's going to have more merchandise. It's going to have more columns. And it's going to be updated regularly because we know how to do that stuff now. So stay tuned. It won't be as long as it's been. In a couple of weeks, a re-debut, a brand new launch of the all-new JimCornette.com.
Oh, you know what else I wanted to mention real quick? You got something going on with OVW again, right?
As a matter of fact, we haven't talked about that either. Danny Davis and I are having a tryout camp for OVW talent and also a training seminar for anybody that wants to come on Labor Day weekend, Saturday and Sunday, September 4th and 5th. And you can go to ovwrestling.com to find out how to apply and come down. We're looking to find some more talent because we want to renovate OVW now that there is no perfidious WWE influence involved. And the new fall season of OVW begins on television here in Kentucky, in Louisville, Lexington, and London, Kentucky. On September 11th, we tape that program at the Davis Arena in Louisville on September the 8th. There's going to be a new matchmaker announced. There's going to be some former favorites returning, some new stars debuting, and also there's going to be an arrangement between Ring of Honor and OVW where Ring of Honor's national television tapings stop by Louisville, including December 9th and 10th, Thursday and Friday, a 2-night stand at the Davis Arena. More information on that in the upcoming weeks, but it's going to be fantastic. OVW is on the resurgence. Very good.
And I guess we'll give the fans a special treat on the way out, and I know that I haven't mentioned to you just prior to us doing this, but why don't we give you a Jim Cornette fuck you of the week this week to someone? Not to put you on the spot.
Oh, my gosh, who do I want to fuck this week? I'm not even sure. Tommy, who's a deserving candidate for a fuck you this week? Let's spread it around a little bit. Somebody we haven't done before. Who's been a raging prick in the wrestling business? Actually, there's so many to choose from, so many names running through my mind. How about just a general fuck you to all the people who don't like wrestling and don't like wrestling fans and their general Eric Bischoff?
All right. And as always, make sure you head over to JimCornette.com. Like Jim said, a lot of great things coming up in the upcoming weeks there. And we'll be back next week, hopefully, with a new edition of Cornette's Commentary. And Jim will be down to 221 come next week.
Well, I've got the weekend in Philly, and the Philly Diner is right there. So I don't know. I may be stagnant for a couple of weeks. But thanks, Tommy. And we will do a show next week just because we can't stay away for that much longer.
All right, Jim. We'll talk to you next week, man.
Thanks, Tommy.
Take care.
Bye-bye.